Welcome to Optimal Health Weekly with your host, Steve Adams. This podcast is for highly driven professionals, CEOs, and entrepreneurs who know health is the first wealth. Join us each week for a mix of expert interviews and solo episodes on health topics relevant to your busy life. Let's elevate your health together.
Hi, Steve Adams here from Tiger Medical Institute for the weekly Tiger Optimal Health podcast. Welcome to the show. And we are going to launch right into part 2 of my 2-part podcast series on how to become functionally younger in the next year. In the last podcast, we talked about the idea of personal autonomy and maintaining control over the choices in your life so that they aren't made for you, and that your health was probably the most likely area if you are a mid-career, midlife individual, that you're going to lose your autonomy, and it's going to be around your health, most likely. And so in this part 2, what I want to do is get into some practical things that you can begin to do today that stack the odds in your favor. Okay, so let's get started. The big thing that I want to talk about to start off is this idea of an aging curve. In the book, Becoming Younger Next Year, it talks about how on average when an American adult hits their late 40s, early 50s, it's pretty much a slippery slope of aging straight down to mid 70s and death. The other thing that's going on in that slope is that a person typically will experience several years of chronic disease and not really enjoy life during that slope. The thing that you want to strive for is, if you embrace this vision of proactive medicine and proactive healthcare, proactive investment in your health, becoming patient number one, you can actually flatten that curve out and actually get younger at a cellular level for several years. Up to 5 years is the estimate that Dr. Henry Lodge talked about in his book from the research that he had done. And then flatten that curve out for a couple of decades, potentially. And in your mid-80s, probably drops down pretty straight. You get an illness and then you die. That is a much preferred scenario of extending your health for, say, 10 to 20 years, being active when most people are not, and enjoying an additional period of good health to pursue the goals that you have and the experiences that you want to experience before you die. And so that's kind of the goal of being proactive around your health, is that you can flatten that curve and not succumb to the statistics that we talked about in the last episode. Here's a quote from Dr. Lodge that I think, in my opinion, should change everything. He said, "You can be as athletic, vigorous, and alert as you were at 50 until you are 80 or older. And for the first 5 or more years, you can be functionally younger." Listen to that. That should motivate anybody who hears that quote, and I hope it does for you. So here's a new mindset that we want to talk about. I want you to forget the term aging. The more relevant measure is growth versus decay. Okay, so stay with me here. Your body is hardwired toward one or the other. It relies on signals from you. So the question I have for you to wrestle with is, which signals will you send to your body? Will you send growth signals or decay signals? That's the question I want you to think about, okay? So let's talk about decay signals first. Here are some examples. One is you stop learning. You drink excessive levels of alcohol. I realize that's subjective, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Carrying excessive weight. Eating poorly, eating a high processed, high fat, low fiber diet, lack of goals or purpose, a full retirement, meaning a do nothing retirement, not challenging yourself in any way, and then a sedentary lifestyle. These are all signals of decay and will accelerate the aging process. Alternatively, you can pursue a life of growth around daily movement, engaging with life, having goals, having purpose, eating well, meaning eating real food, not processed food, so maintaining good social connections rather than allowing yourself to become isolated, optimize sleep rather than sleep deprivation, having goals and purpose, balancing your weight out at a more appropriate weight, balancing your blood sugar levels, and just having an attitude of learning, okay? And so think about that. Which would you rather have in your life? Decay signals a life of decay or a life of growth, okay? So when you send these growth signals to your body responds. So how do you become functionally younger in the next year? Well, there's 4 bigger ideas, and then we'll kind of go deeper. One is nurture a good social life, maintain social connections, live with purpose and goals. Now, you don't have to have a big career. You don't have to have some global vision. It can be as simple as you wake up every day and you volunteer somewhere, or you work with little kids on reading, just something that engages you, that gets you up and moving, okay? The third thing is pursuing core health habits that I'm going to unpack. And then 5th, work with a doctor who's trained in proactive root cause preventative medicine, okay? So those are your big 4 ideas. Now let's go a little bit deeper, all right? On the habit side, we want to learn how to manage stress. And the key measurable for that is something called heart rate variability. And the way to measure that is to have a Whoop band or an Apple Watch. And my favorite is an Oura ring. That's O-U-R-A ring. And HRV is really a critical biomarker because it's a measure of overall life load, the burden of stress on your life and health. And low HRV, and it's measured on the MS scale, is a predictor of all-cause mortality. Low HRV is associated with 9 of the 10 leading causes of death in America. The good news is that it can be trained up. I have improved mine about 400% from when I started this journey, and I'll get into how in a minute. High HRV is associated with resilience, good mental health, improved immune function, peak performance, and longevity. So it's definitely a worthy goal to improve your HRV. And the number one way to immediately begin to improve it is to manage stress well. And a way to do that is to learn how to do something called diaphragmatic breathing, okay? Now, you can go to YouTube and look it up and find a video on how to do it. At Tiger Medical, we teach the 4-6 method. What that means is you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out through your mouth for 6. And you engage your diaphragm, so you push it out as you breathe in, and you pull it back in as you breathe out. And when you elongate your exhale, meaning go for 6 seconds, you activate the recovery side of your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, and you bring your body back into a state of balance. The problem in our modern lifestyle is it pushes us into the stress response chronically, and when you do, that causes disease and all kinds of bad things at a cellular level. We don't have time to go into it on this podcast. Other podcasts, I will delve into it more deeply. So one of the best things you can do to improve your HRV is to literally engage in breathing. I challenge our clients at Tiger Medical to get 20 minutes a day, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunch or in the middle of the day, and 10 minutes before bed. The other thing is, anytime you feel stressed or uptight or anxious, do this breathing. It will help you get out of that stuck state of stress and out of it. And that'll be great for your health and good for your HRV. Now, HRV also can be improved by improving your sleep and several other good lifestyle health habits, okay? So that's the first one. The second one is optimizing your sleep. And there's really 3 pillars of this. Number 1 is you've got to de-stress, which I just shared. And when you do that, you kind of set your body up for sleep at night. The second thing is you've got to engage in what is called sleep hygiene, meaning get rid of the things that are hurting your ability to sleep, like devices and television in the bedroom, having blue light hit your eyes the last hour before you go to bed, making sure you have a cool, dark room with no lights at all. It's got to be pitch dark. Having good quality sheets and bedding, those are all things that you can do, and there's many more to improve your sleep. And then the third one really is about, as you improve your overall health, your overall physiology, and you start to resolve some imbalances that you have, that will help your sleep. Now, sleep, when you improve it, it actually can be a weight loss thing because it does 2 things in that regard. One is that it lowers your overall cortisol levels, which cause you to retain visceral fat in the center of your body, but also it lowers your cravings for the wrong foods. Third, it improves your immune function, it improves your brain health, and it is associated with longevity over the age of 80. So the literature suggests that the best practices are to be in bed for 7 to 8 hours so that you can get 5 full 90-minute sleep cycles. So that's number 2, optimize sleep. The third one is daily movement. Okay, this sends a powerful signal to the brain to grow. It catalyzes something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is a miracle grow of sorts for the brain because it catalyzes the formation of new brain cells, neurogenesis. It improves your VO2 max. It improves growth factors associated with heart disease and diabetes prevention. And it improves your stress and anxiety and your mental health challenges, okay? And so this can be as simple as a brisk walk for 25 to 30 minutes a day. Anybody can do that, okay? You don't need to be a gym ninja. You don't need to do mountain biking. You don't need to be an Ironman or run a 5K race. Just walk briskly every day, okay? The next thing, this is a superpower that synergizes with stress management and sleep, and that is time-restricted eating. At its simplest essence, it is a method of fasting that reduces the time you eat to a window. And our preference at Tiger Medical is to have an 11-hour eating window and a 13-hour fast period. We usually start people out at 12 and 12, but the big idea is first thing you want to win the battle of is a 3-hour fast before you go to bed. So if you finish dinner at 6:30 at night, do not go to bed until 9:30. That 3-hour fast will allow your digestive system to complete its work and set your body up to do the things it needs to do at night to prepare you for the next day. And then if you just refrain from any calories until 6:30 the next morning, that's 12 hours, and eventually go to 7:30, 13 hours, you have catalyzed something called autophagy, which is a cleaning process at the cellular level, okay? And so if you wake up earlier and you want to have coffee or tea, just make sure to add nothing to it, okay? So the benefits of time-restricted eating is that it improves your metabolic health. The research is conclusive on it. It improves blood sugar and insulin regulation. It aids in the prevention of cancer because cancer loves glucose. And so by having the fasting period, it reduces that. It reduces your heart disease risk. It lowers blood pressure, and it can contribute to sustainable weight loss. So time-restricted eating. Steve Adams here from Tiger Medical Institute. Do you ever feel like you're operating at less than 100%? It's time to take control of your health with the True Health Assessment by Tiger Medical. Get comprehensive blood screening to identify hidden health risks before it's too late. Our team of Mayo-trained and naturopathic physicians will analyze your results and provide a custom plan to optimize your well-being. Don't let underlying issues hold you back. Invest in your most valuable asset, your health. For the price of a daily chai latte from Starbucks, you can gain priceless insights and a roadmap to peak performance. Visit truehealthassessment.com, truehealthassessment.com today and unlock your full potential. Because when you feel your best, you can achieve your best. That's true health. The next one is called functional nutrition. And what I mean by this is if you can get a genetics test, and we certainly can do that at Tiger Medical for you very inexpensively, you can learn how to feed your body in a way that fits how you were uniquely made. So for example, I was built and made in such a way that my body doesn't metabolize starch very well. And so for me, a ketogenic diet is ideal. And once I got on that, all of my acid reflux and GI issues were resolved within 4 months. After 25 years of just treating the symptoms with medication, today, for now 5 years, I've been medication-free, GERD and acid reflux-free, GI problem-free, just by changing my diet. That's what functional nutrition is. At its core essence, what we want to do is get rid of the bad stuff first, which is processed foods and reducing your reliance on carbs, simple carbs, stuff that's white, okay, pasta, rice, bread, and potatoes, and having more greens, more meats, or plant-based proteins, whatever your preference is there, and more fiber. And in doing so, you balance out those blood sugar levels and improve your nutrition. Another habit is targeted supplementation, and this can only be done under the guidance of a functional medicine doctor who is looking at all of your markers and looking at the medications to make sure that you're taking no supplementation that is going to have some contraindications with any medication you're taking. So this must be done by a physician guiding you. And secondly, you must purchase GMP certified supplements. Don't buy the cheapest stuff you can find online. Go to a local health food store that you trust or a high quality online platform with all GMP or FDA lab certified, because now you want to make sure that this stuff is clean and that the potency minimums are guaranteed, okay? What targeted supplementation does is it supports both biomarker imbalances and genetic weaknesses. And you can only do that under the care of a physician that is trained in this kind of medicine, okay? And then one more thing, you're going to want to detox. The vast majority of us are carrying toxic burdens, and toxic burden is highly oxidative, it's inflammatory, and we know from the pillars of cellular health, if you are highly inflamed and you have a high level of oxidative stress, that is going to catalyze disease and negative and poor gene expression. And so by detoxing, you're actually going to improve your ability to fight off chronic disease. So it's worth it. But again, this needs to be done under the care of a physician trained in the proper process of detox. Don't read about it online and then go launch into your own detox, because you could actually make yourself sicker doing that. It has to be done under a physician's care, because they have to bind some things first before they put you into a full detox program. All right. So what is the path forward with proactive medicine? All right. Well, number one, you want to know your health truth. So you've got to get a baseline set of testing or a test to know where you are. All right. Some other things you're going to want to know. Okay. One is you're going to want to know your ApoE4 gene status. Okay. Because these are markers that are correlated with cognitive disease. They have a massive, massive set of implications in terms of what kind of nutrition plan you eat. Okay. If you have the ApoE4 gene marker, or you have 2 copies of it, and you're eating the wrong nutrition plan, it can actually accelerate the path to cognitive disease. So you really want to understand that. Another gene marker that you want to know is the MTHFR gene. It has to do with methylation pathways. 50% of the population approximately has this marker. I have it, which puts me at higher risk for cancer. And it also has significant implications in terms of what kind of nutrition plan I can have. All right. You also want to understand advanced metabolic markers around your lipid markers and your blood sugar regulation markers. Okay. And that way you get a true picture of where you're at so that you understand how to re-engineer your lifestyle. And the great thing about this is that you can, even if you have negative gene markers like ApoE4 and MTHFR, even if you have poor cardiovascular markers like I do, you can make lifestyle choices that prevent the negative expression of those genes. Okay, you really have a lot of say in how you age. The last three things you want to know is your toxin burden. Get that assessed and address it. You want to know what your inflammatory status is and address that. And then you want to understand what your microbiome health status is and address that. Now, at Tiger Medical, we have an overall system that optimizes 10 areas we call the inner terrain. Okay. We got this from a Dr. Natasha Winter, who wrote a book, The Metabolic Approach to Cancer and Cancer Prevention. In her book, she talks about the 10 keys to optimizing the inner terrain. And this is exactly what the doctors at Tiger Medical do. This is what our health coaching programs do. This is what our online courses do. This is what we teach in all of our podcasts and our social media posts. Okay, and here are the 10 areas. Number 1, blood sugar balance. Number 2, microbiome balance. Number 3, hormone balance. Number 4, stress management. Number 5, enhancing mental and emotional well-being. Number 6, toxin burden management. Number 7, lower inflammation and oxidative stress. Number 8, epigenetic and nutrigenomic modifications, meaning based on your genes, change lifestyle. Number 9, immune system maximization. And number 10, enhancement of blood circulation. Those 10 areas you want to address proactively. And when you do, you will literally stack the odds of greater longevity in your favor. You'll enjoy increased odds of greater health for many, many more years. You'll get functionally younger in the next year. And if this seems overwhelming, go to tigermi.com, www.tigermi. So TIGER, M as in Mark, I as in international.com, and explore our programs and see how you can learn to become functionally younger in the next year by optimizing your inner terrain. Because if you work with us, this will happen automatically through our guided process with a physician. All right, let me talk about 2 different couples. And what I want you to do for the balance of this podcast is think about which couple you are or which individual you are. Okay. Well, Rob and Jennifer, they're active. This is the positive example. They're retired from their careers. They're each involved in meaningful work as volunteers. They go to the gym or for a walk every day together. They work at their social life, being active in clubs. 70% of the time, they maintain good overall health habits. And you notice what I said there. Basically, 2/3 of the time, they're good. Hey, we all got to have a glass of wine once in a while. We got to have that pizza. We got to be lazy and miss a day. We're human. That's what we're going to do. But if you can just 75% of the time do the things I'm talking about in this podcast, you have put yourself in a much better place. They're energetic. They're fit. They're active with their kids and their grandkids. They're able to travel internationally because they're not tied to their doctor. They're optimistic, and they're a model of growth for their kids and their grandkids. While they're not a burden financially, they also are not a care burden now or likely in the near future for their kids. And more likely is they'll have when they do get sick, it'll probably be something that won't be chronic and years of care for the kids. Okay. And I think we all would aspire to be Rob and Jennifer. That's the picture of who we want to be. Unfortunately, 6 in 10 Americans have gone down the path of Dave and Jean. They're chronically ill. They retired from their careers in their mid-50s. Between them, they have 4 chronic diseases that were all preventable, but more importantly, they're reversible. They're unable to travel due to restrictions on mobility and fear of being away from their caregivers. They have a sedentary lifestyle, which then increases the speed at which they lose their mobility, which then spirals downward into new health issues. They're not optimistic about their health and their future life. Their schedule revolves around their medical treatments. And while they did a good job with their money, they are increasingly becoming a healthcare burden to be managed by their kids. And sadly, again, this is the experience of over 100 million American adults. And the consequences are lost opportunity, lost influence, and lost freedom, and ultimately premature death. And I am imploring you, now that you've been educated, when we know better, we do better if we follow through. And so I'm encouraging you to follow through and do something and think about this issue. What will your kids inherit? Will they inherit growth or decay? Will they inherit burdens or will they inherit a model of growth? That's up to you. You can make that choice. Now, I'm going to leave you one effortless step that you can take to begin your journey of sending growth signals rather than decay signals. It's called the Optimal Health Assessment. And this is an assessment that you can go onto the website at Tiger Medical Institute. It's called tigermi.com, www.tigermi.com. It's right on the front page. You can click on learning more about that and you can buy it. It's only $299. And you're going to get a health kit shipped to you. You can take the test and then you'll get on a call, likely with me or one of our professionals. We'll go through the results and then we'll talk to you about how our affordable, preventative, proactive concierge medicine program can help you optimize your inner terrain 10 and get you on a journey to becoming functionally next year. So I want to challenge you to look at doing that and not just taking in information and failing to do something. So I hope this podcast was helpful. Have a great day. Steve Adams here from Tiger Medical Institute talking about the True Health Assessment. What if you could safeguard not just your health, but the well-being of your entire family? With the True Health Assessment from Tiger Medical, you can. Our comprehensive blood screening identifies hidden risks before they become major issues. Our elite team of Mayo Clinic trained and naturopathic physicians then create a customized plan to optimize your health for years to come. When you prioritize your wellness, you ensure you can be fully present for the people you love most. Don't let preventable issues cut that time short. For less than the cost of a daily latte, you can gain peace of mind and a clear path to sustained vitality. Protect your future and your family's future with True Health Assessment from Tiger Medical at thetruehealthassessment.com. Again, that's at thetruehealthassessment.com.